Let me ask you a question. Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, worrying about money? Maybe you've had a heated argument with your spouse about the credit card bill, or perhaps you silently carried the stress of mounting debt because you didn't want to start another fight. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. In fact, financial disagreements are one of the leading causes of stress in marriages. And let's be honest, they're one of the toughest to navigate. But here's the good news. You don't have to let money come between you and the person you love most in the world. I've seen it time and time again. Couples who start out madly in love only to find themselves at odds when the bills pile up or when their financial goals don't align. One person wants to save every penny, while the other believes life is meant to be enjoyed, even if it means spending a little extra. One partner might have grown up in a household where money was tight, so they're naturally cautious, always worried about what's around the corner. The other may have come from a background where money was never an issue, and they approach finances with a more carefree attitude. These differences, while seemingly small at first, can build over time until they feel like an insurmountable wall between you and your spouse. I want you to know that it doesn't have to be this way. You can tear down that wall. You can learn to communicate, to understand each other's financial perspectives, and to work together as a team. And when you do that, something incredible happens. You don't just fix your money problems, you strengthen your marriage. You develop a partnership built on trust, respect, and shared goal. That's the kind of marriage that can weather any storm, financial or otherwise.
But here's the thing. It's not going to happen by accident. Just like building wealth, building a strong, financially healthy marriage takes work. It takes intentionality. It takes humility, vulnerability, and a willingness to have some tough conversation. And yes, it takes a lot of grace, because let's face it, neither you nor your spouse is perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have moments where you don't see eye to eye. But if you commit to facing these challenges together, you'll come out stronger on the other side. Today, I want to help you start that journey. I'm going to share with you some practical, real-world strategies for navigating financial conflict in your marriage.
We'll talk about how to create a budget that works for both of you, how to communicate effectively about money, and how to set goals that align with your shared vision for the future.
We'll also dive into some of the deeper issues that often lie beneath financial disagreements, things like fear, insecurity, and unmet expectations. And I'll show you how to address those issues in a way that brings you closer, not further apart. This is important work, folks, because your marriage is worth fighting for. Money can either be a source of division or a tool that brings you closer together. The choice is yours. So if you're ready to stop letting money control your relationship and start taking control of your financial future together, then stick with me. We're going to tackle this head on, and by the end of this conversation, you'll have the tools you need to turn financial conflict into financial peace, and maybe even a stronger, more connected marriage than you ever thought possible. Let's dive in. Let's start with the first truth you need to embrace. Financial conflict in marriage is normal. That's right. It's not a sign that your marriage is broken or that you married the wrong person. It's simply a reality of two unique individuals with different backgrounds, experiences, and personalities trying to merge their lives into one. Think about it. No two people grow up with the exact same relationship to money. Some of us were raised in families where money was always tight, where every dollar was stretched and financial stress was an ever-present reality. Others grew up in homes where money wasn't a concern, where spending was more carefree and budgets were non-existent. And then, of course, there are those who were never taught anything about money at all. It was a taboo topic, something no one ever talked about. Now, imagine taking two people with completely different financial blueprints and asking them to run a household together. It's no wonder sparks fly. But here's the thing. Conflict by itself isn't the problem. The real problem is how we handle it. Many couples when faced with financial disagreements, either explode or shut down.
They argue, blame, and criticize, or they avoid the topic altogether, sweeping it under the rug until it becomes this massive, unspoken elephant in the room. Neither approach works.
In fact, both approaches can cause long-term damage to your relationship. So what's the alternative? The alternative is to view conflict not as a threat, but as an opportunity. Yes, an opportunity.
Every time you and your spouse face a financial disagreement, it's an opportunity to learn more about each other, to grow closer, and to strengthen your relationship.
Let me tell you something I've learned over the years. Conflict, when handled well, can be a catalyst for growth. It forces you to confront your differences, to communicate more openly, and to find common ground. And when you do that, when you really lean into those tough conversations, you come out on the other side with a deeper understanding of each other and a stronger, more unified partnership. That's why I always say that healthy conflict is a sign of a healthy marriage. It shows that you're both engaged, that you care about your financial future, and that you're willing to put in the work to make your relationship better.
Now, let's get real for a moment. I know it's not easy to stay calm and rational when you're in the middle of a financial disagreement. Money is an emotional topic, and it can trigger all kinds of feelings. Anger, frustration, even shame. Maybe you're scared because you're not sure how you're going to pay the bills this month. Maybe you're frustrated because your spouse keeps spending money on things you don't think are important. Or maybe you feel guilty because you've made financial mistakes in the past, and you're worried about how those mistakes are affecting your family. Whatever the case may be, it's important to acknowledge those feelings and to recognize that your spouse is probably experiencing their own set of emotions too. Here's what I want you to do. The next time a financial conflict arises, take a deep breath and remind yourself that your spouse is not your enemy. You're on the same team. The goal is not to win the argument or to prove who's right and who's wrong. The goal is to work together to find a solution that benefits both of you and strengthens your marriage. This requires a mindset shift. Instead of approaching the conversation with a defensive or combative attitude, approach it with curiosity and empathy. Ask questions. Try to understand where your spouse is coming from and why they feel the way they do. And don't just listen to respond. Listen to respond. Listen to understand. I promise you, when you make the effort to really hear each other out, it can transform the way you handle conflict. One of the most powerful things you can do as a couple is to create a safe space for open and honest communication about money. This means being willing to talk about your fears, your dreams, your mistakes, and your hopes for the future.
It means being vulnerable and allowing your spouse to be vulnerable too. And it means committing to regular, intentional conversations about your finances, even when things are going well.
Don't wait until you're in the middle of a crisis to talk about money. Make it a habit to check in with each other regularly, to review your budget, to discuss your goals, and to celebrate your progress.
When you do this, you'll find that financial conflict becomes less frequent and less intense because you're proactively addressing potential issues before they become major problems.
Remember, marriage is a partnership, and managing your finances is a team effort. You're not just two individuals trying to navigate life on your own. You're a unit working together toward a shared vision.
And like any great team, you're going to have disagreements from time to time. That's okay. What matters is how you handle those disagreements. When you approach conflict with love, respect, and a willingness to compromise, you turn what could be a point of division into a stepping stone toward a stronger, more connected relationship.
So embrace the challenge, lean into the tough conversations, and trust that with time and effort, you and your spouse can overcome any financial hurdle that comes your way. Now that we've established that financial conflict in marriage is normal, let's talk about what it really takes to turn those conflicts into constructive conversations. At the heart of it all is communication. honest, open, and respectful communication. But here's the catch. It's not just about talking. It's about listening. Really listening to your spouse's thoughts, fears, and dreams. And I know, that sounds simple, right? But if you've ever found yourself in the middle of a heated argument about money, you know how quickly things can spiral out of control. Before you know it, you're not discussing the issue anymore. You're just trying to get your point across, trying to be heard, trying to get your point across, trying to be heard, trying to win.
And when both of you are fighting to be understood, but neither of you is actually listening, you end up going in circles, getting nowhere.
So here's what I want you to remember. The goal of a financial discussion in marriage isn't to win the argument. This isn't about keeping score or proving who's right and who's wrong. The goal is unity. The goal is to come together as a team to find solutions that work for both of you and to build a life that aligns with your shared values and goals. That's not going to happen if you're constantly talking past each other. It's only going to happen when you both feel heard, respected, and understood. Let's get practical here. The next time you and your spouse sit down to talk about money, start by setting the tone. This isn't a battle. This isn't a battle. This is a partnership meeting. Begin by agreeing on the ground rules. No interrupting, no raising your voice, no accusation. Instead, commit to listening with an open mind and a kind heart.
And when it's your turn to speak, focus on sharing your feelings and perspectives rather than pointing fingers. Use statements like, I feel anxious when we don't stick to our budget.
Or, I'd like us to prioritize saving for our future. This approach takes the blame out of the equation and opens the door for a more productive conversation. Now, let's talk about empathy. Empathy is the secret sauce that transforms conflict into connection. It's about putting yourself in your spouse's shoes, trying to see the world and your finances through their eyes. Maybe your spouse grew up in a household where money was scarce, and now they're incredibly frugal because they never want to feel that insecurity again. Or maybe they experienced financial abundance as a child and have a more relaxed attitude towards spending because they associate money with freedom and enjoyment. When you take the time to understand the why behind your spouse's financial behavior, you gain valuable insight into their fears, motivations, and values. And once you understand their perspective, it becomes so much easier to find common ground. Here's another key. When discussing finances, always keep your long-term goals in mind. It's easy to get bogged down in the details. How much you're spending on groceries, whether you can afford that new gadget, or how to allocate your tax refund. But those today decisions should always be guided by a bigger picture.
What kind of life do you want to build together? What are your dreams for the future? Do you want to retire early?
Say for your kids' college education, travel the world, buy your dream home. When you're both working toward the same vision, it's easier to compromise on the smaller issues because you're united by a common purpose. One of the most powerful exercises you can do as a couple is to sit down and create a shared financial vision. Take some time to dream together. Write down your short-term and long-term goals.
Talk about what's most important to each of you and why. Maybe one of you dreams of starting a business while the other dreams of paying off the mortgage as quickly as possible. Maybe one of you wants to prioritize experiences like travel while the other values the security of a robust emergency fund.
By laying all your dreams and priorities out on the table, you can start to see where they overlap and how you can work together to achieve them. But here's the thing. Achieving those goals isn't just about setting them. It's about creating a plan, a step-by-step roadmap that will get you from where you are now to where you want to be. And that's where the power of a budget comes in. I know budgeting doesn't sound sexy or exciting, but let me tell you, a budget is one of the most freeing tools you'll ever use in your marriage. It's not about restriction. It's about intention. A budget gives you permission to spend on the things that matter most to you while also ensuring that you're making progress towards your bigger goals. And when you create that budget together, it becomes a powerful tool for unity. You're no longer operating in the dark or making financial decisions in isolation. You're on the same page working together and holding each other accountable. But I'll be honest with you. Creating a budget together can be challenging, especially if you've never done it before or if one of you has been managing the finances solo. It requires transparency, trust, and a willingness to compromise. It might take a few tries to get it right, and that's okay. The important thing is that you're doing it together as a team. Sit down once a month, make it a date night if you want, and review your budget. Talk about what's working, what's not, and what adjustments you need to make. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small, and use setbacks as learning opportunities rather than reasons to point finger.
Here's what I want you to take away from this. When you approach your finances with a spirit of teamwork and a commitment to open communication, you can transform even the most challenging financial conflicts into opportunities for growth and connection.
You and your spouse have the power to build a life of financial peace and freedom, but it starts with coming together, listening to each other, and working as a united front. So don't shy away from those tough conversations. Embrace them, lean into them, and trust that together you can overcome any financial challenge that comes your way. Now that we've laid the foundation for open communication and teamwork, let's talk about one of the most important steps you can take to eliminate financial stress in your marriage, creating a budget.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Budgeting doesn't exactly sound like the most romantic activity. In fact, for a lot of people, the word budget feels restrictive, like it's designed to suck the fun out of life.
But let me tell you something, that couldn't be further from the truth. A budget isn't a punishment. It's a plan. It's the roadmap that tells your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And when you create a budget together as a couple, it becomes so much more than just numbers on a spreadsheet. It becomes a tool for unity, clarity, and yes, freedom. Here's the deal. Every single dollar you bring into your household needs a job. Without a budget, your money will slip through your fingers faster than you can say payday.
You'll end up spending more than you realize on things that don't really matter to you, while the things that truly do matter, your goals, your dreams, your future, get pushed to the back burner.
But when you take control of your money by giving every dollar a purpose, you gain something priceless, peace of mind. No more arguing about where the money went. No more arguing about where the money went. No more scrambling to cover the bills. No more living paycheck to paycheck. Instead, you'll have a clear plan that reflects your priorities and brings you one step closer to financial freedom every single month. Now let's get real for a second. Creating a budget as a couple isn't always easy. In fact, it can be downright challenging, especially if one of you is a natural spender and the other is a natural saver. But the beauty of a budget is that it forces you to come together and make decisions as a team. It's no longer about my money or your money. It's about our money. You're working together toward a common goal, and that's powerful. But to make it work, you've got to approach the process with patience, respect, and a willingness to compromise. Here's how you do it. First, sit down together and write out all your income for the month. This includes your paychecks, side hustles, and any other sources of income. Next, list out all your expenses, everything from the mortgage or rent to utilities, groceries, and even your morning coffee run. Be thorough and honest. This isn't the time to hide anything. Once you've got everything written down, start assigning every dollar to a category until your income equals your expenses. That's what we call a zero-based budget. And trust me, it's a game changer. Now, this is where the real magic happens. As you go through your budget, you'll start to see where your money is actually going. And that's often a real eye opener. Maybe you didn't realize how much you were spending on takeout or subscriptions you hardly use. Or maybe you'll find that you have more money left over than you thought. Money that can now be directed toward your savings goals or paying off debt. This process isn't about judgment or blame. It's about gaining clarity and making intentional choices with your money.
But here's the thing. A budget isn't set in stone. It's a living, breathing document that will evolve over time. Life happens, unexpected expenses pop up, priorities shift, and that's okay. The key is to stay flexible and revisit your budget regularly. I recommend having a monthly budget meeting with your spouse to review your progress, make adjustments, and set your intentions for the upcoming month.
And don't forget to celebrate your wins along the way, whether it's paying off a credit card, hitting a savings milestone, or simply sticking to your grocery budget. Every victory is worth acknowledging. One of the biggest benefits of budgeting as a couple is that it fosters accountability. You're not just managing your money in isolation. You're doing it together.
That means you're holding each other accountable for sticking to the plan, and you're working together to find solutions when things don't go as expected. And let me tell you, there's something incredibly empowering about that.
When you know that you and your spouse are on the same page with a shared vision and a clear plan, it builds trust. It strengthens your partnership. It reminds you that you're in this together, no matter what. But perhaps the most transformative aspect of budgeting is the freedom it brings when you're in control of your money. You're no longer living in fear of the next emergency or dreading the end of the month. You're no longer shackled by debt or overwhelmed by financial uncertainty. Instead, you're living with purpose and intention, knowing that every dollar you spend is bringing you closer to your goals. That's the kind of freedom that allows you to sleep peacefully at night, to pursue your dreams with confidence, and to enjoy life without the constant weight of financial stress. So if you've been avoiding the B word, I want to challenge you to change your mindset. Instead of seeing a budget as a restriction, see it for what it truly is. A tool for empowerment, a pathway to peace, and a powerful way to strengthen your marriage. Sit down with your spouse, roll up your sleeves, and start building your budget today. It might be uncomfortable at first, and that's okay. Change is never easy, but it's always worth it. And remember, this isn't just about numbers on a page. It's about creating the life you want together. You've got this.
Now that you've got a budget in place and you're starting to take control of your finances as a couple, it's time to tackle one of the most dangerous threats to your financial peace: debt.
If there's one thing I've seen time and time again, it's that debt is like a thief in the night. It sneaks in quietly, promising convenience and instant gratification. But before you know it, it's stolen your peace, your security, and your ability to breathe freely.
And here's the kicker: debt doesn't just rob you financially. It steals from your marriage too. The stress, the arguments, the blame. It's all part of the ugly cycle that debt creates. But let me tell you something right now. You don't have to live that way. You don't have to carry the weight of debt around like a ball and chain. You and your spouse can break free. And I'm going to show you how. First, we need to get on the same page about what debt really is. Debt is not a tool. It's not a way to get ahead. It's not a way to get ahead. It's not something you can manage or leverage your way out of.
Debt is a burden. It's a thief. It's a trap. And the sooner you and your spouse agree on this truth, the sooner you can start fighting back. I don't care if it's student loans, car payments, credit cards, or a mortgage. Debt is debt is debt. It's money you owe to someone else. And as long as you're in debt, a portion of your paycheck belongs to them, not to you. That's why I say all the time.
That's why I say all the time. That is dumb, and cash is king. When you're out of debt, you take back control of your income. You get to decide how your money is spent, not the bank or the credit card company.
Now, here's the thing. Getting out of debt isn't easy. It takes hard work, discipline, and a whole lot of sacrifice. But let me tell you, the freedom you'll experience on the other side is worth every ounce of effort. And the best part, you don't have to do it alone. You've got your spouse right there beside you, and together you're going to tackle this mountain of debt one step at a time. The first step is to make a commitment. The first step is to make a commitment. The first solid, no, turning back commitment that you're done with debt. You're done borrowing. You're done making excuses. From this day forward, you're going to live differently. You're going to live with intention, with discipline, and with the confidence that you're building a future free from the chains of debt. Once you've made that commitment, it's time to roll up your sleeves and get to work. Start by listing out every single debt you owe, from the smallest to the largest. This is what we call the debt snowball method, and trust me, it works. You're going to attack that smallest debt with everything you've got. Extra income, side hustles, cutting back on expenses, whatever it takes to knock it out as quickly as possible.
And once that first debt is gone, you take the money you were putting toward it and roll it into the next smallest debt. Each time you pay off a debt, you gain momentum. You start to see progress.
And let me tell you, there's nothing more motivating than seeing those debts disappear one by one. But here's the real magic of the debt snowball. It's not just about the numbers. It's about the emotional and relational impact of getting out of debt. Every time you and your spouse pay off a debt, you're not just reducing your financial burden, you're building trust, strengthening your teamwork, and proving to yourselves that you can accomplish anything together. You're learning to prioritize your goals, to celebrate your victories, and to support each other through the tough times. And as you do this, you'll find that the process of getting out of debt isn't just transforming your finances. It's transforming your marriage.
Now, I know what you might be thinking.
Dave, this all sounds great, but what about those big debts? The student loans, the car payments, the mortgage. How are we supposed to tackle those?
Here's my answer. One step at a time.
Don't let the size of your debt overwhelm you. Focus on the next step, the next win, the next payment. When you're working together, staying focused and refusing to give up, those big debts will start to shrink. And as they do, you'll feel the weight lifting off your shoulders. You'll start to see a future that isn't controlled by monthly payments or interest rates. A future where your income is fully yours to invest, save, and spend on the things that truly matter. But let me warn you, the journey to becoming debt-free will test you. There will be times when it feels like you're not making progress fast enough, when you're tempted to throw in the towel and go back to your old ways. That's why it's so important to keep your eyes on the prize. Remind yourselves of why you're doing this. Maybe it's to provide a better future for your kids. Maybe it's to be able to retire with dignity and security. Or maybe it's simply to experience the peace of mind that comes from knowing you're not beholden to anyone. Whatever your why is, hold on to it. Let it fuel your determination and keep you moving forward.
And don't forget to celebrate along the way.
Every time you pay off a debt, take a moment to acknowledge how far you've come. Whether it's a small victory, like paying off a credit card, or a major milestone, like saying goodbye to your student loans. These moments deserve to be celebrated.
They're proof that your hard work is paying off, that you're making real, tangible progress toward the life you want. And those celebrations,
they're going to bring you and your spouse closer together, reminding you that you're in this together, fighting side by side for a brighter, more secure future. So if you're ready to break free from the chains of debt, now is the time to start. You've got the tools, the plan, and most importantly, the partnership to make it happen. It won't be easy, but I promise you it will be worth it. Together, you can build a life of financial freedom and peace, a life where you control your money, not the other way around. Let's do this.
Now that you've committed to getting out of debt and you're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, it's time to talk about the next crucial step in your financial journey, building an emergency fund.
Let me tell you, this step is a game changer. It's the safety net that keeps you from falling back into the debt trap when life throws a curveball. And trust me, life will throw curveballs.
Whether it's a blown transmission, a medical emergency, or an unexpected job loss, these things happen. They're part of life. But here's the difference. When you have an emergency fund, those moments of crisis don't have to turn into financial disasters.
You can face them with confidence, knowing you've got a cushion to catch you.
Now, if you've been following my plan, you know that your first goal is to save a starter emergency fund of $1,000 as quickly as possible. This isn't your full safety net. It's just a little buffer to cover those smaller emergencies that could otherwise derail your progress. Think of it as your first line of defense. But once you've paid off all your debt using the debt snowball, it's time to take things to the next level by building a fully funded emergency fund. That's 3 to 6 months worth of expenses saved up and ready to go. This fund is your fortress. It's what stands between you and financial ruin when the unexpected happens. And let me tell you, having that kind of security is one of the most freeing, empowering feelings in the world. So, how do you build this fund? The same way you tackled your debt, one step at a time with focus and determination. Start by calculating your monthly expenses, things like housing, utilities, groceries, transportation, insurance, and any other necessities, groceries, transportation, insurance, and any other necessities. Then multiply that number by 3 to 6 months, depending on your level of comfort and the stability of your income. That's your target. For some of you, that number might seem overwhelming at first, but don't let it intimidate you. Remember, you're not trying to do this overnight. This is a marathon, not a sprint. The key is consistency. Every dollar you save brings you one step closer to your goal. Now, let's talk about the mindset shift that happens when you start building your emergency fund. For a lot of people, money has always been a source of anxiety. You worry about whether you'll have enough to cover the bills, whether you'll be able to handle an emergency, whether you're one paycheck away from financial disaster. But as you watch that emergency fund grow, something amazing happens. That anxiety starts to fade. You begin to feel a sense of peace, a sense of control over your finances that you've never felt before. And that peace doesn't just benefit you, it benefits your marriage too. When you're not constantly stressed about money, you're able to focus more on your relationship, on enjoying life together, on pursuing your dreams without the fear of financial insecurity holding you back. Building an emergency fund also changes the way you handle money in your day-to-day life. When you know you've got that safety net in place, you're less likely to make impulsive decisions out of fear or panic. You start to approach your finances with a long-term perspective, thinking about how today's choices will impact your future. And that's a powerful shift. It's the kind of thinking that sets you up for lasting financial success. But here's something else that's important to understand. Your emergency fund is not just about the money. It's about the freedom and flexibility that money provides. It's about being able to say yes to opportunities and no to things that don't align with your value. It's about being able to weather the storms of life without losing sleep over how you're going to pay the bills. It's about creating a life where you're not constantly reacting to financial challenges, but instead proactively building the future you want. That's the kind of freedom I want for you, and it's what your emergency fund can provide.
Now, let me give you a little encouragement. I've seen countless people, couples, singles, families, go from living paycheck to building strong financial foundations with robust emergency funds.
These are people just like you, people who decided they were tired of living on the edge and were ready to take control of their financial futures. And let me tell you, the transformation is incredible.
When you have an emergency fund in place, you walk a little taller. You sleep a little better. You face life's challenges with a sense of calm and confidence that you've never known before. And that confidence, it spills over into every area of your life.
So if you're in the process of building your emergency fund, stay the course. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Cut back where you can. Save aggressively and celebrate every milestone along the way. And if you're feeling discouraged, remind yourself why you're doing this. You're building a financial foundation that will protect your family, give you peace of mind, and allow you to live life on your own terms. That's worth every sacrifice, every bit of effort, every dollar saved. And if you haven't started yet, today is the perfect day to begin. Take that first step. Open a separate savings account, set up an automatic transfer, and start building your fortress. You won't regret it. Because when life's storms come, and they will, you'll be ready. You'll be ready. You'll face them head on with confidence and peace, knowing that you've done the hard work to prepare.
And that, my friends, is what financial freedom is all about.
Now that you've laid a solid foundation by getting out of debt and building a fully funded emergency fund, it's time to shift your focus to something that can truly transform your financial future. Building wealth and leaving a legacy. This is where the journey gets exciting, folks. You've done the hard work of cleaning up the mess, and now you're ready to start building something extraordinary. This is about more than just accumulating money. It's about creating a life of purpose, security, and generosity. It's about setting yourself and your family up for a future where financial stress is a thing of the past and opportunities abound. And most importantly, it's about making an impact that lasts far beyond your lifetime. Let's start with the basics. Once you've got that emergency fund in place, you're no longer living paycheck to paycheck. You're no longer looking over your shoulder, worrying about the next financial crisis. You're in control, and that gives you the freedom to focus on what really matters, growing your wealth intentionally and strategically. The first step in this phase is to invest. I'm not talking about gambling your money on the latest stock tip or trying to get rich quick.
No, I'm talking about steady, consistent investing in things that have a proven track record of growth over time, like mutual funds, retirement accounts, and real estate. Now, if you're like most people, the idea of investing might feel a little intimidating. Maybe you've heard horror stories about market crashes, or maybe you just don't know where to start. That's okay. Take a deep breath and remember this. Investing is not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. The longer your money is invested, the more time it has to grow, thanks to the power of compound interest. That's why it's so important to start now, no matter where you're at. Whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, or beyond, the best time to start investing is today.
Here's what I recommend. If you have access to a workplace retirement plan like a 401k, take advantage of it, especially if your employer offers a match. That's free money, folks, and you don't want to leave it on the table. Aim to invest 15 of your household income into retirement accounts. If you don't have a 401k or a similar plan, consider opening an IRA or Roth IRA. And if you've already maxed out those options, look into additional investment opportunities like brokerage accounts or real estate. The key is to stay consistent. Set it and forget it. Let your money work for you while you focus on living your life. But here's the thing. Building wealth isn't just about accumulating money for the sake of having more. It's about creating options and opportunities. It's about giving yourself and your family the freedom to live life on your own terms.
Maybe that means retiring early, traveling the world, or starting your own business. Maybe it means funding your kids' education so they can graduate debt-free.
Or maybe it means having the ability to give generously to support the causes and organizations that align with your values and make a difference in the world. Whatever your vision for the future looks like, wealth gives you the ability to make it a reality. And that brings me to one of the most powerful aspects of building wealth, generosity. There's something deeply fulfilling about being in a position to bless others, to meet needs, to create opportunities for people who might not otherwise have them. And let me tell you, the more you give, the more you'll realize that generosity isn't just about changing other people's lives. It changes your life too. It shifts your perspective.
It reminds you that money is a tool, not a master. It connects you to something bigger than yourself, and that's a beautiful thing.
Now, let's talk about legacy. This is the part where you start thinking not just about your own lifetime, but about the impact you want to leave on future generations. What kind of example do you want to set for your kids and grandkids? What values do you want to instill in them?
When you're intentional about building wealth, you have the opportunity to pass on more than just money. You can pass on wisdom, discipline, and a legacy of stewardship. You can teach your family what it means to manage money, well, to live within their means, and to use their resources to make a positive difference in the world. And when you do that, you're not just changing your family tree, you're changing the world. But here's the thing. Leaving a legacy doesn't happen by accident. It requires intentionality and planning. That's why it's so important to have a solid estate plan in place. If you don't already have a will, get one.
If you have young kids, make sure you've named guardians for them. And if you've accumulated significant assets, consider working with a financial advisor or estate planning attorney to ensure that your wishes are carried out and that your family is taken care of.
This isn't about being morbid or dwelling on the inevitable. It's about being responsible and proactive so that your hard work and your values live on.
And don't forget to involve your family in the process. Talk to your kids about money. Teach them how to budget, how to save, how to give. Share your financial journey with them, both the successes and the mistakes. Let them see the impact of wise financial decisions and the freedom that comes from living debt-free. When you do that, you're equipping them with the tools they need to carry on your legacy and to build lives of their own that are rooted in financial peace and purpose. So here's the bottom line. Building wealth and leaving a legacy isn't just about the dollars and cents. It's about living a life of intention, of purpose, and of impact. It's about using your resources to create opportunities, to pursue your dreams, and to make a difference in the lives of others.
And it's about passing on a legacy of wisdom and generosity that will echo for generations to come. You've done the hard work to get here. Now it's time to dream big, to live boldly, and to build a future that's as bright as you can imagine.
Let's go make it happen. As we reach the final step in this journey toward financial freedom, let me share with you something that is absolutely crucial to your long-term success: the power of commitment. This isn't just about following a plan or sticking to a budget for a month or two. It's about making a decision that this is the life you want to live, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Whether you're just starting your journey or you've been working on it for a while, the one thing that will set you apart from the millions of people who never get ahead is your commitment to seeing this through.
Commitment is the key to your success in every part of your life, not just your finances. It's the fuel that keeps you moving when the road gets tough, and the determination that pushes you through when life throws you a curveball. Think about it. Commitment is the difference between dreaming about a better life and actually building that life. It's the difference between being financially stressed and living with peace. It's the difference between continuing to live paycheck to paycheck and achieving the kind of financial freedom that allows you to make decisions based on what you want, not what you can afford. You see, the path to financial freedom is long, and at times it's hard. But with commitment, you'll have the strength to stay the course no matter what, because this isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about changing the trajectory of your life, your marriage, and your family's future. And that kind of transformation requires unwavering dedication.
Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There will be setbacks along the way. There will be moments when you feel like you're not making progress fast enough, when you'll be tempted to give up and go back to your old habits.
There will be moments of doubt, fear, and frustration. But I want you to hear this loud and clear. Those setbacks don't define you. What defines you is your ability to keep going, even when it feels hard. What defines you is the commitment to getting back on track, to finding a solution, and to not letting any obstacles stand in your way. It's about getting up after you fall, dusting yourself off, and moving forward with even more determination than before. That's the kind of attitude that will carry you through. But here's the thing. Commitment isn't just about toughing it out during the hard times. It's also about creating positive, lasting habits that will keep you on the path to financial freedom for years to come. It's about making financial decisions that align with your values and your goals, day in and day out. It's about keeping your eyes on the prize, even when it feels like the finish line is far away. When you're committed, every dollar you save, every debt you pay off, every plan you execute becomes a step toward a life you've only dreamed of. And let me tell you, dreams do come true, but only if you're willing to commit to making them happen.
In the beginning, the journey might feel overwhelming. You might look at your debt, your bills, your budget, and wonder if it's all worth it. And I'm here to tell you, it absolutely is.
The sacrifices you make today, the discipline you develop, and the commitment you show will pay off in ways you can't even imagine right now. It's about so much more than just the money. It's about the peace of mind that comes from knowing that you and your spouse are on the same page, that you are no longer slaves to debt, that you're building a future together based on trust, purpose, and freedom. That's priceless. It's the kind of freedom that allows you to breathe easier, to make decisions without the cloud of financial stress hanging over your head, and to live a life that's in alignment with your values. And remember, commitment is contagious. When you make that commitment, it doesn't just affect you. It impacts your family, your kids, your spouse, and everyone around you. The example you set now will be passed down to the next generation. They'll learn from the way you handle money, the way you prioritize your goals, and the way you never give up. They'll see that building wealth is a process, that it's not about instant gratification, but about long-term planning, discipline, and hard work. And that lesson will serve them for the rest of their lives, long after you're gone. That's the legacy you're creating, one built on a foundation of commitment, responsibility, and purpose. So as you move forward on this journey, I want you to ask yourself, what am I really committed to? Are you committed to staying stuck in the cycle of debt and financial stress? Or are you committed to living a life of freedom, peace, and generosity? Are you committed to doing whatever it takes to achieve your goals, even when it's tough? Because I promise you, when you make that decision and hold fast to it, nothing, not debt, not setbacks, not even fear, can stop you. In the end, this journey is all about making choices that align with the life you want to build. And when you commit to those choices with everything you've got, you're setting yourself up for a life that's not only financially free, but deeply fulfilling. So make the commitment today. Make it for your future, for your family, for your peace of mind, and for the legacy you're going to leave behind. You've got this. Let's go build the life you deserve. As we wrap up this journey together, I want to leave you with one final thought. This is just the beginning. You've made the decision to take control of your finances, and that decision is more powerful than you may realize. It's a decision that will transform your life, your marriage, and your future. The path ahead isn't always going to be easy. It won't be perfect, and it won't be perfect, and it won't always go as planned. But I promise you this. If you stay committed, if you keep your eyes on the prize, and if you take action every single day, you will get there. Financial freedom is not a far off dream. It's not something that only happens for the lucky or the rich. It's something that can happen for you, and it starts with the commitment to take one step and then another until you've created a life of security, peace, and purpose.
This journey you're on is about more than just managing money. It's about creating a legacy. It's about building a life where you are no longer burdened by the weight of debt, where you don't have to fear the future because you've planned for it.
It's about making decisions that are rooted in your values, that allow you to live generously, to give to others, and to live with the peace that comes from knowing your financial house is in order.
It's about having the freedom to say yes to the things that matter most and to say no to the things that don't. When you start seeing money as a tool, something that you control rather than something that controls you, you unlock a whole new level of freedom.
That's the kind of life I want for you. That's the kind of life you deserve. And let me tell you something, you are already on the right path. Just by listening to this, just by committing to make a change, you've taken the first steps toward a future that's free from financial worry and full of possibility. You've taken control of your money, and in doing so, you've taken control of your life. And the great thing is, this process doesn't have to be done alone. You and your spouse, your family, or even a close friend can all walk this path together. You're not just building wealth, you're building relationships. You're building a future that isn't just about what you can accumulate. It's about what you can give. The financial principles you're learning today are timeless. They'll serve you not only in your financial life, but in every area of your life. You might be feeling overwhelmed right now, and that's okay. If you're looking at all your debt, all the things you need to change, and thinking to yourself, how can we possibly do this? Take a deep breath, one step at a time. Break it down. Get focused. You have everything you need to succeed. You have the tools, you have the resources, and you have the support of countless others who have walked the same path. It's not easy, but nothing worth having ever is. The process is a journey, and every single step you take moves you closer to your goal. Remember, you're building something that lasts. Financial security, peace of mind, and a life where money is no longer a source of stress, but a tool that empowers you. But above all, I want you to remember that this is about your future, the future you're building today, whether it's paying off debt, investing for the future, or creating a legacy for your children. Everything you do now has the power to change the course of your life and the lives of those you love. And that's worth fighting for. You don't have to live in the shadow of financial stress anymore. You have the power to create a life of freedom, and it starts today. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to do this. You've got the determination, the discipline, and the heart to make this happen. So don't wait. Start now and know that no matter where you are on this journey, you're not alone. Take it one step at a time, and remember, you can do this. Your financial freedom is within reach, and it's just waiting for you to grab it. Let's go make it happen.
As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to hear from you. I know that navigating your financial journey can be tough, and you're probably facing some challenges right now, whether it's paying off debt, sticking to a budget, or figuring out how to start building wealth.
Whatever it is, I want to know what difficulties you're encountering. Drop a comment below and let us know what you're struggling with. This is your chance to share what's on your mind, and we're here to help.
I promise you, you're not alone in this, and we want to create solutions that will help you move forward.
We'll be making videos based on your feedback, diving into real, actionable solutions that can help you tackle your financial struggles head on. So don't be shy. Comment below. Tell us what's holding you back, and together we'll find the path to your financial freedom. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're here to guide you every step of the way with new content and practical tips that will help you create the life you deserve. You've got this, and we've got your back. Hit that subscribe button, and let's keep moving forward together.